Hello everyone, tonight we step into the golden sands of Egypt, a land filled with secrets that have fascinated humankind for centuries. Among the pyramids, temples, and desert winds, there lies one of the most chilling and enduring mysteries in history, the so-called Curse of the Pharaohs. For generations, stories have been told that those who dared to disturb the resting places of ancient Egyptian rulers would be met with strange misfortunes, illnesses, and even untimely deaths. But is this curse real, or is it just a legend designed to scare away tomb robbers and thrill seekers? Tonight, we'll uncover the chilling tales, the history, and the strange coincidences that have given life to the myth of the Pharaoh's curse. It all begins with the fascination the world has always had for Egypt's kings and queens. The pharaohs were not just rulers, they were considered gods on earth, chosen by divine forces to govern the land of the Nile. When they died, their burials were not simple affairs. Instead, massive pyramids and elaborate tombs were constructed to honor them, protect their treasures, and ensure their journey to the afterlife. These tombs were filled with gold, precious jewels, sacred objects, and carefully prepared mummies. And yet, alongside the treasures, there were warnings, sometimes written on walls, sometimes whispered in stories, that anyone who dared disturb the eternal rest of these rulers would be punished. The most famous story of the Pharaoh's curse is tied to the discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun in 1922 by British archaeologist Howard Carter and his patron, Lord Carnarvon. For centuries, the Valley of the Kings had been searched and looted by treasure hunters, but Tutankhamun's tomb remained hidden, sealed beneath the sands. When Carter and his team unearthed it, they found a burial chamber nearly untouched, filled with unimaginable treasures, golden masks, statues, and artifacts that stunned the world. But the discovery was soon followed by whispers of tragedy. Lord Carnarvon, who had financed the expedition, died mysteriously just a few months later. The official cause of death was blood poisoning from an infected mosquito bite. But when the news spread, newspapers began connecting the dots. They reported that at the exact moment Carnarvon died, the lights in Cairo went out, and that his favorite dog back in England howled and collapsed dead. Was this coincidence, or the work of a curse? The press fed the fire. Soon, every death even remotely connected to the discovery of the tomb was labeled as part of the curse. Carter's team members, museum workers, and even visitors who viewed the treasures were rumored to have died under strange circumstances. Although historians and doctors often argued that many of these deaths were due to infections, accidents, or natural causes, the public believed something more sinister was at play. But the story of curses in Egyptian tombs didn't begin with Tutankhamun. Ancient inscriptions found in some tombs carry chilling warnings. One translated message from a tomb roughly says, "Death will come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the pharaoh." These words fueled the belief that curses were deliberately placed to guard the resting places of kings. In some cases, the tomb walls were decorated not only with beautiful artwork, but also with symbols and writings invoking gods and spirits to protect the dead. Skeptics argue that the so-called curse may have had a scientific explanation. Some researchers suggest that sealed tombs, untouched for thousands of years, may have contained deadly bacteria, mold, or toxic gases. When the tombs were opened, the explorers could have inhaled these toxins, leading to sudden illnesses and unexplained deaths. But others believe there's something more, something beyond science. Could it be that the pharaohs truly had powers that extended beyond the grave? Consider this. Many ancient cultures believed in the power of words, spells, and energy. In Egypt, priests performed elaborate rituals when sealing tombs, calling upon gods to protect their kings. They believed the dead ruler's Ka, or spiritual essence, continued to live on, watching over their body. Disturbing their rest wasn't just a crime against the body, it was an insult to their very soul. To the ancient Egyptians, this act could bring divine punishment. Stories of strange happenings go beyond Tutankhamun. In the late 1800s, a group of archaeologists who entered a lesser-known tomb reported sudden feelings of dizziness, paranoia, and unexplainable terror. Some claimed to hear whispers in the darkness. Their lanterns flickered out without explanation. Later, several members of the group died within a short time of each other, fueling rumors that the tomb had been cursed. Even in modern times, Stories of misfortune still follow those who study or display Egyptian artifacts. Museum workers have reported feelings of being watched, sudden illnesses, or unexplainable accidents after handling certain relics. Some museums even refuse to display certain artifacts believed to carry curses. But perhaps the most intriguing part of this mystery is the divide between science and superstition. On one hand, medical science points to germs, mold, and accidents as explanations for the deaths. On the other hand, the timing, the strange coincidences, and the sheer weight of legends make people wonder if there is a force beyond human understanding at work. Imagine standing in a dark, narrow tomb, walls covered with hieroglyphs, the air heavy and still after being sealed for centuries. You see the treasures laid beside a coffin, untouched since the days of ancient Egypt, and then you remember the warnings, the whispers of curses, the tales of sudden deaths. Would you dare to touch anything? Would you dare to disturb the eternal sleep of the Pharaohs? The curse of the Pharaohs remains one of history's most chilling enigmas. Whether it's ancient magic, coincidence, or hidden science, the mystery continues to grip our imaginations. And the deeper we dig into the sands of Egypt, the more questions we uncover. In Part 2, we will explore even darker stories, cases of explorers who ignored the warnings, the long list of supposed victims of Tutankhamun's curse, and the scientific investigations that tried to uncover the truth. We will also ask the ultimate question: is the Pharaoh's curse just a legend, or is there something truly supernatural hidden in the tombs of Egypt? When we left off, we were standing at the edge of one of the world's most mysterious legends, the Pharaoh's curse. To understand how deep this mystery runs, we need to look closer at the people who became entangled in it, especially those linked to the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, and the strange fate that seemed to follow them. The most famous case, of course, is Lord Carnarvon. After years of searching for Tutankhamun's tomb, he was finally rewarded when Carter uncovered the hidden entrance in November 1922. But by April of the following year, Carnarvon was dead. Doctors claimed it was due to blood poisoning caused by a mosquito bite that became infected after shaving. Yet, the story took on an eerie twist. Newspapers reported that the moment he died, all the lights in Cairo went out. Even stranger, thousands of miles away in England, Carnarvon's pet dog supposedly let out a howl and dropped dead at that very moment. Coincidence or curse, and he wasn't the only one. George J. Goode, a wealthy American who visited the tomb, fell sick with a fever immediately afterward and died soon after returning home. Another member of the excavation team, Sir Archibald Douglas Reed, who raided Tutankhamun's body, died suddenly after falling ill. Arthur Mace, another archaeologist who worked with Carter, died mysteriously in 1928. By the time a few years had passed, nearly 24 deaths had been linked, directly or indirectly, to the tomb. But what about Howard Carter himself, the man who led the excavation? He lived for more than 16 years after the discovery and died of natural causes in 1939 at the age of 64. This raises an important question. If the curse were real, why did the man who disturbed the tomb the most survive the longest? Some argue this proves the curse was just a myth. Others say Carter may have been spared for reasons we may never understand. Interestingly, Carter himself denied the existence of any curse. He claimed that no inscription threatening death or misfortune was ever found in Tutankhamun's tomb. In fact, many archaeologists argue that most tombs carried protective spells for the afterlife, not threats to the living. Yet, the legend persisted. Why, perhaps it was the sheer number of coincidences that followed the tomb's opening, or perhaps it was the way the human mind seeks patterns in tragedy. Still, there are chilling details that refuse to go away. In 1925, 3 years after the discovery, Carter's canary was reportedly eaten by a cobra, the very animal that symbolized the Egyptian monarchy and was associated with divine retribution. Locals whispered that it was a sign the gods were sending a warning. As the years went by, more names were added to the list of the curse's victims. Some were museum curators, others were visitors who came into contact with the artifacts. One example is Evelyn White, an archaeologist who supposedly left a note before taking his own life in 1924, claiming he had succumbed to the curse. Whether this is truth or myth, it only deepened the legend. Beyond Tutankhamun, other tombs have also been associated with curses. In one instance, an inscription found on a tomb near Saqqara warned, "All people who enter this tomb will be miserable." In another, a wall was engraved with a threat that whoever violated the tomb would be destroyed by crocodiles, snakes, and hippopotamuses. Such messages could have been psychological weapons to scare away thieves. Yet, when explorers reported strange illnesses and accidents after entering these tombs, the inscriptions seemed prophetic. Science, of course, has offered explanations. Studies in the late 20th century found that ancient tombs could contain deadly fungi, bacteria, or mold spores sealed for centuries. When disturbed, these organisms could cause respiratory illness, fever, or even death. One theory suggests Lord Carnarvon may have been infected by such pathogens after spending time in the sealed chambers. Toxic gases like carbon monoxide or hydrogen sulfide could also have built up over centuries, creating dangerous conditions for the first people to enter. But can science explain everything? For every rational explanation, there is another strange event that defies logic. For example, the story of the unlucky mummy displayed in the British Museum. Although it was not actually a mummy but a coffin lid, it was rumored to bring disaster to anyone associated with it. Newspapers linked it to accidents, deaths, and even the sinking of the Titanic, though historians later disproved those claims. Still, the legend of the cursed artifact remained. The curse also extends beyond Egypt. In the 1970s, archaeologists in Pakistan opened the tomb of a supposed ancient Persian king. Shortly afterward, several workers died mysteriously, leading locals to claim a curse had been unleashed. Once again, science pointed to bacteria or toxins. But for the people who lived near the site, the story was clear. The ancient dead had been disturbed, and they had taken revenge. So why do these stories captivate us so deeply? Perhaps it's because the idea of a curse touches on something primal in us. The fear of the unknown, the idea that there are forces beyond our control. Ancient Egypt itself seems almost otherworldly. The colossal pyramids, the mysterious hieroglyphs, the elaborate rituals of death, all of it creates an aura of mystery that lingers even today. When something strange happens, it feels natural to attribute it to powers beyond our understanding. But there's another layer too. The legend of the Pharaoh's curse serves as a warning about greed, hubris, and the dangers of disturbing what was meant to be eternal. Many of the archaeologists and treasure hunters were driven not just by curiosity, but by the promise of fame and fortune. The curse reminds us that some knowledge might come at too great a price. Today, tourists flock to see Tutankhamun's treasures in museums around the world, and scientists continue to study the mummies and artifacts. The modern world may dismiss the curse as superstition, yet even now, many people feel uneasy when standing before the golden mask of the boy king. The eyes seem almost alive, as if watching from beyond the grave. Is the curse real? That depends on what you believe. If you trust science, then the answer lies in bacteria, fungi, and bad luck. But if you trust the whispers of history, the inscriptions on tomb walls, and the chilling coincidences that surround the story, then perhaps there is more to it than we know. As long as the sands of Egypt continue to hold secrets, the curse of the pharaohs will remain one of the most enduring mysteries in human history. Maybe it was a legend created by ancient priests to protect their kings. Maybe it was a coincidence woven into myth by eager journalists. Or maybe, just maybe, the pharaohs still guard their eternal rest with powers we cannot yet comprehend. And so the question lingers, haunting every explorer who gazes at a sealed tomb. If you were standing there, with the opportunity to unlock the secrets of the ancient dead, would you dare to break the seal? Would you risk the curse of the pharaohs?